Afternoon, Nancy. Good evening. All
Hello.
right.
Good
Hello and
afternoon.
good afternoon to everybody watching on the live stream and watching on the replay. And we have a very special guest, the founder of Kokoro, this popular cocoa sugar. Her name is Jamie Lau, and we'll be talking to Jamie about her story. Paano ba nagsimula itong Kokoro and her culinary background. And my name is Anton Diaz, founder of Our Awesome Planet, together with the
They awarded our awesome planet.
together with the Nancy Reyes Lumen, streaming live from Houston, Texas, and we're awesome live with Jamie Lau of Kokoro. Can you do a short introduction?
I was,
Jamie!
Anto, I was about to call on all those who have diabetic problems. This is a show for you to listen to
Oh,
because
yes.
the product has low glycemic index, which will enable all these people who have issues to be able to still enjoy the
Oh.
sweet, the sweet
And
life.
Jamie, thank you again for having us uh, to being here. And I know ang hirap mo hagilapin din, and thank you for sharing your story. So maybe to kick this discussion off, maybe you can start off by doing a short introduction. Paano ka ba nagsimula in your culinary journey? And for those people watching on the live stream or on the replay, please put your questions in the comment section below. We're live in Facebook, YouTube, and of course LinkedIn. There are a lot of people, professionals watching on LinkedIn. And yeah, Jamie,
Whoa!
paano ba nagsimula?
Hello. Hi, awesome people, and Tita Nancy, Anton. It's so nice to have this chat with you guys again. I
Yes.
always enjoy whenever nakakapagkwentuhan tayo. Okay, how did I get started with Kokoro? Well, back in 2013,
Wow.
I shucks, I want to say I just graduated from college, but no. I've been out of college for maybe a year or two, and I
What
was kind of soul searching. I was looking for something to do. Parang kasi I studied chemistry, and I think my dad had hoped for me that I would invent my own product and sell this. And so somewhere there, I was kind of like looking for a product that would be perfect. And back then, yeah, I would actively go to expos. I would go around like hunting for something. And I think in Manila we had a lot of these trade fairs, and they would have mga Filipino products. And
Yeah.
what my mom had suggested was na ano daw, parang sabi niya, we have relatives who produce muscovado. Why don't you look into exporting muscovado? And so, yun, parang we that was actually the initial plan. But
Mm-hmm.
I think back then it was a little hard to certify muscovado as organic
why?
because um we have parang I guess by default lang that they would use certain pesticides
Oh,
for sugar plantations. Kasi
uh-huh.
parang the sugar plantations would be really big, and so it's yun parang it's difficult back then
Mm,
to practice organic.
uh-huh.
Yes.
So yun, medyo it was din, mga I guess product consistency challenges. And pero back then I really there was so much about the food industry, especially like commodities that I didn't know also. So that's also part of the limitations. But so during one of the trade shows that I attended, I met these farmers na they were showing me this coconut sugar. And
Okay.
back then, the parang I think it was coconut sugar was very limited pa. And it was my first time to see a very light coconut sugar, like which was being produced out of Cagayan de Oro.
Mm-hmm.
So after tasting the product, I thought na wow, ang parang suddenly it opened up my mind to the possibilities of this ingredient. Kasi well, we do come from a baking family. Like our yeah, every I would say every man, woman, and child in our family likes to cook or bake. And
Judy
so
Cake.
yeah, grabe, that is my original big brother. Like the fruitcakes were around before I was. And yeah, grabe talaga. So so as a baker, I really appreciate na there's like light sugar and dark sugar. And
Okay.
so suddenly, na-realize ko that, yeah, coconut sugar is not just this dark, medyo moist sugar that, you limit to making maybe cocoa jam or brownies, but it could also be used for maybe sponge cakes, custards. I mean, now that there's a light version, diba? So it could actually be a healthier replacement for sugar, because there's like refined white sugar and then there's brown sugar, which I'm sure like the um, people who bake, like, really, parang there is that difference, right? You can't use
Mhm.
brown sugar if you're gonna make angel food cake.
Yeah.
Oo.
Yun. And yeah, from there, one of our challenges was making the product consistently, though, because
Bakit?
yun, parang sometimes, like, you know, at the trade show, I was able to see this very light sugar, right? But when we started like wanting to produce more of it, like let's say if you have an order of like 200 kilos,
Oo.
suddenly parang yung na-deliver sa amin was ano na, sometimes it would be darker than expected.
Mm.
Um, and yun, parang,
Hindi na
so that,
consistent.
oo, hindi na consistent. So that's when I started Kokoro, the first thing that we got into was the quality control, as in production talaga.
Mm-hmm.
We had to look into the process, the sap that we harvested, where did we get the sap, parang how was the sap treated or filtered. Yeah, so it was a lot of studying. It was a
Question:
lot of, yeah, go ahead.
did this have anything to do with your chemical mind also? I mean, like while you were looking into the taste or the culinary side, you were also looking into the chemistry of the product.
Ah, yeah, very much so.
I guess.
Definitely, there's a lot of like science involved in producing something, lalo na something that is an ingredient. I mean, something that's very simple, because coconut sugar is basically sucrose. As in, so we just get the sap from the coconut tree, we filter it, we pre-boil to stop the fermentation,
Uh-huh.
and then all of this pre-boiled sap we transfer to our bigger facility to finish the cooking. It's a very simple product, and ultimately we're just getting the sucrose, or like the sugar crystals. Um and yun, parang there's a lot of things that you need to do to ensure the parang the limitation of yung fermentation, the purity, the cleanliness, and down to the cooking. So we don't do any refining. For the dark caramel, we use high flame, and we cook it for a bit longer to allow for caramelization of the sugar. And for the ivory, this one, the ivory sugar naman, we do slow cooking for this one. So
Bakit
the
ivory?
Yeah,
Pero
why?
it's
ivory,
brown, no?
ah,
It's brown? Tama ba?
well, compared to the dark caramel, this
Is
one is
is
our dark caramel.
is your ivory
Ah,
lightest it
Yeah.
can already be?
oo, that's the lightest.
That's the
Ganun ba?
light.
Yeah.
Ivory.
Okay.
Oo.
Okay.
So this is parang that one is a little bit comparable to muscovado or dark brown sugar, and
Yeah.
then the ivory. What we're trying to hit kasi is like the experience of raw sugar or white
Uh-huh.
sugar.
Yeah.
Yung syempre the original plan talaga is like white sugar para you can make angel food cake or
Oo,
meringues.
oo.
Uh,
Hindi kaya, hindi kaya.
Not always. As in, I
Ah,
think this is the lightest. I'm not so sure if our audience feels na this is light enough. Parang pulverod yung color.
oo, oo. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Pero
yes.
Jamie, I was able to make coconut sugar merengue, and it wasn't
Oh!
bad. It's not that bad. It's one on one, 1:1 with the egg white. Pero the
Uh-huh.
color is cream. It's not brown.
Oh, wow.
Siguro sa labas
Do-
na kasi, syempre nag-caramelize, di ba?
Mm-mm.
It was not that. I have a question. Before
Yes.
you proceed, does
Okay.
that your product, is it more expensive if it was lighter because it involves slower cooking and longer cooking?
Mm. In theory, yes, that it should be more expensive, but um at the moment we just made it to the consumers, we just made it the same price
Mm-hmm.
because wala parang the company just absorbs na lang the extra cost
Okay.
because like just for simplicity's sake,
All right.
because we're already trying to convince people to try out this different ingredient
Mm-hmm.
versus like refined sugar. So yeah,
Yeah.
we
May
just made
question nga ako
the
dyan.
same.
Ah, but before that, we'll say hi to Jomart Bakiran na I realized pala, Nancy, we're streaming during lunchtime, no? So,
Ah, okay.
all
Oh,
the time. So,
ano,
yeah, happy lunch. So,
ano
so,
inuulit mo, Jamar?
uh, so Jamie, so the coconut sugar industry, ano na ba? A lot of people are getting into it. What's the penetration? Or ano pa rin? Mababa pa rin ba? You know, after the pandemic, a lot of people you would think will go healthier choices, di ba? So what happened after now in 2022?
Well, we did feel like a bit of a surge during pandemic talaga, like in 2020. I think it's because like a lot of people were stuck at home and baking.
Okay.
But I would say most of them were baking sourdough. But
Ah,
for the people who make brownies and like mga cakes,
oo.
there was an increase in purchases for coconut sugar. However, right now, I would say hindi pa rin ganun ka lakas yung penetration ng ng coconut sugar because um before they buy coconut sugar, I think there's still muscovado. Like
Yeah.
maybe people are still more accustomed to using muscovado. Like if they are looking for sugar that has more s- mi- shall I say character
Uh-huh.
siguro, right? Like when you're making brownies, ganun. Because I think the nice thing about ingredients like coconut sugar and muscovado is they bring more depth to
Yes.
recipes.
Yes.
Parang, 'di ba? Parang there's additional notes.
Loaded. Oh,
In the case of, I mean, versus
Cocoa
if you're
sugar,
using
wala? Oo.
coconut
Ang
sugar,
cocoa
meron
sugar.
din.
meron.
Pero I'll explain to you how coconut sugar works.
Sige.
Kasi sometimes I get feedback from people na sabihin nila, how come parang mas maraming flavors or may nalalasahan daw sila when they use coconut sugar for making, let's say, brownies. And I think the thing is, coconut sugar does not taste like coconuts. It does not smell like coconuts. But the sweetness, the sweetening power of coconut sugar is parang it's not as malakas as white sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mask everything. It doesn't mask all the flavors. What happens is like let's say if you use coconut sugar for a chocolate chip cookie recipe, uh you will still be able to taste the butter, the vanilla, yung ano parang the chocolate that you use. Parang there are flavors that are not masked. Like actually one of the products that I really want to try coconut sugar with would be milk tea, because
Mhm.
with tea leaves, 'di ba, parang tea leaves have a lot of notes in them. And
Mm-hmm.
usually when you use like white sugar, it masks a lot of notes. That's why actually
Mhm.
white sugar is great with coffee, because there's a lot of bitter notes in coffee. So
Mm-hmm.
when you use white sugar, parang you're left with only a few coffee notes, which I think a lot of people are accustomed to.
Uh-huh.
So that's great. But with milk tea, there's like a lot more flavor in the tea leaves that you want to experience, which if you use coconut sugar, you'll actually be able to enjoy all of that, because the sugar doesn't mask everything.
Like with salabat, you
Yeah.
think it will work? Salabat, ginger.
Actually, yeah, we've tried
Oh, wow.
coconut sugar with salabat, and yeah, it's a very parang medyo full-bodied yung ginger brew.
Oh, I'll
So
try this.
quite nice naman. I think it's healthier din.
Mhm. But
Yeah.
I have a question previous to before you proceed. When you said you talked to the farmers, who are these farmers?
So we have a few groups. Like one of the groups that we started with is this co-op in Cagayan de Oro.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're a small co-op, parang mga 3 hours outside of CDO. So when you fly into CDO, you kind of have to arrange for a car to go to the site pa. It's
Mm-hmm.
a small group of about maybe when we started, nasa ano lang sila mga 14 persons, and I think by
Mhm.
now they've grown to maybe around 30. But
Wow.
yeah. So uh there's a lady there that I frequently speak with. Her name's Beth, and she's like the coordinator of that group. And grabe talaga. So one of the challenges with agricultural co-ops or agricultural products is um, keeping people in line, I guess. Kasi sometimes, they're not everyone is equally motivated, right?
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes like you get people who I don't know, maybe it's the young ones na they
Mhm.
maybe they're wondering like, what am I doing this for? Why do I need to make sure that all of the all of the sap that comes in that's received is a certain color, mga ganyan, 'di ba? So consistent consistent like uh um what monitoring of quality, all of these things. So
Yeah.
yun, there's yeah, there's that group, the co-op that we've been working with since gosh, how long has it been now? 2012. Actually, that's
Uh-huh.
the very group that
10 years.
first came up with the very light sugar. But
Mm.
yun lang yung challenge, like to make it consistently. Like we all had to work together, and like there was a food tech also that I met along the way, also during one of these expos,
Mhm.
that she's based in Davao naman.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, one of the things that we did was to bring bring together all of the people from different co-ops and food techs just to exchange information. So, kasi sometimes you'd have like one farm that's doing something well. Like let's say the moisture content, they're able to control that. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's another farm naman that's able to keep the color consistent. But not everyone, or there wasn't one that had like a perfect product.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we had to pool everyone's knowledge together and like exchange, sometimes even exchange equipment.
Uh-huh.
Parang whatever someone was using, like we had to um, produce that kind of machine
Uh-huh.
Oh,
for
Pero
the other facilities.
it's so
Mm-mm.
nice that you're providing livelihood from, you said, from 14 farmers to 30 and more. That's so good, especially with the agricultural program now. Anyway, I'm happy for that. I know there are many problems. May mga makukulit diyan, 'di ba? Na mga pasaway. I'm sure, 'di ba? So,
maybe
There have
we
been
can.
we've also had like some not so great experiences na rin, as in nangyari na rin na we paid for SAP tas parang tinakbuhan lang kami, mga ganun. So
May
it's
mga
like
ganun.
challenges talaga, like you really don't know who you're dealing with until you try it out.
yeah.
Oo. Maybe we can jump into the photos and you can tell us para people watching this can have context on
Very
coconut sugar
interesting.
production.
Very, very interesting. Okay.
Ah, wow. Okay, this is I believe this is in Quezon, one of the farms in Quezon.
Okay.
So this
Anong
is
ginagawa
a
niya?
sap tapper. Um, so every day we have 4 times a day we have tappers who go up the trees. Here in the Philippines kasi, our coconut trees are still the full size ones. So they really have to scale these trees
Mm-hmm.
to collect the there's a the thing that we call the coconut blossom. It looks like
Oo.
an ear of corn, and what you do is you slash it so that
Mhm.
the sap will drip into a vessel.
Okay.
The vessel kasi we attach to the blossom para like every the sap will be dripping mga 24/7 yan, tuloy-tuloy yan. So but we have to collect it every maximum mga 5 to 6 hours. Kasi if you just leave the sap there, it's gonna ferment.
It will
And
become
so
vinegar.
mm, yeah, yun. It's gonna turn into either lambanog or vinegar.
Yeah.
So
Which
the
brings me, before anything, which brings me to a question. So, in other words, your coconut sugar industry, kalaban or katapat niya ang lambanog industry. Ganun ba yon? Kasi your work,
ah
you're
mm,
competing for the same raw ingredient.
raw material.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Actually, oo. So magkaagaw nga kami. But
Okay.
the good news is I think we have so many coconut plantations in the Philippines.
Yes.
So there are actually plantations that where I think the raw material is still going to waste. Oh. So, but the thing is, like, parang these coconut blossoms, left to their own devices, they will burst into coconuts. As in, parang that's what they mature into.
They
It
mature into that.
becomes mm-mm,
Okay.
coconuts naman.
Interesting. Wow, yun pala yun.
Yan. So, oo. Grabe, I can imagine our tappers would be very payat kasi they'll be climbing several trees every day round the clock.
Oo, ang
But
tataas ng
yeah,
mga trees, 'di ba?
oo nga eh.
Walang
So,
insurance. Alam
meron,
mo yung
kailangan may
meron na
insurance
insurance.
kasi. Oo. But, thankfully, these men from the provinces, they're very hardy. As in talagang, I guess siguro it also serves him that he looks pretty light.
Yeah.
Kasi
Oo.
safety na rin niya, di ba?
Yeah.
But,
Okay. Okay. Ayan na. Mother daughter.
oh, that's me and mom.
So yeah. So your cocoa sugar is also applied to some of her products.
Yes.
Okay.
That took a lot of convincing because my
Oo,
mom,
which one? Which one? Which product ng fruitcake?
the fruitcakes,
At the
the
fruitcake
fruitcakes.
itself.
Mm-mm.
Ah,
Oh.
We've had a few people who requested from us. Actually, when I started doing coconut sugar, I told my mom, sabi ko, can we try using coconut sugar for your fruitcakes? And of course, her answer was no. Kasi she doesn't like changing any of her ingredients. As in, my mom really is a stickler for quality, and like whatever brand or whatever ingredient she started with, she's really just gonna stick with that because um even if some of these ingredients become more expensive, for her that's not the point. Like we will still keep those ingredients and those brands because it's like our assurance of quality. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I think it took me a few years of convincing her with not much luck until we had one Christmas where not one, not two, but a handful of our loyal clients actually requested for if we could make fruitcakes that are either sugar free or made with coconut sugar.
Hey.
So,
yun.
ayun. Finally, finally, we were able to get the chance to collab with a baking brand. Oo. So, yun, that Christmas, we started making classic and coffee fruitcake with cocoa sugar, which
Did
I'm happy. Did it change the taste in any
it,
way?
yeah, yes.
Yes, I would say that it probably tasted better.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Kasi, yun na nga, coconut sugar allows for more of your more of your notes, like more flavors to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So, syempre parang, the butter, the brandy and the fruitcake, it just shines more.
Okay.
Mm,
But I
okey.
think if you ask my mom, she'd probably say, no, it doesn't taste any different. Ako lang, kasi ako yung nanay ng
Ikaw
Kokoro,
lang.
kaya parang like, of course, my child, it's so good. Oh,
Okay.
this is our family photo during a trip to, I think this was Osaka yata.
Wow, ang laki ng family niyo pala.
So,
Oo.
oh yeah, grabe. We have like, I think there are 23 cousins. And now the
Wow.
next generation, there's like 26 nieces and nephews. Um, my mom comes from a food family kasi,
Mhm.
we would travel to pretty much anywhere just for food. Like we travel to the place that comes to mind right now is we went to uh Tita Nan, san yung place in Malaysia famous for durian?
Ringgit? I wouldn't know.
What?
Ringgit? Was it in ringgit? No, I don't remember.
Penang.
Penang, okay.
Penang
Penang.
pala. Oo.
Ringgit pera pala
So,
yun. Okay.
but yeah, we're a very food family. As in we have no sport but food.
Nice.
Food na yung pinaka
Oo.
Olympics namin. Ah,
Oh,
these are
ang
my
gaganda niya.
friends from London.
Mm.
The one on the right, that's Kichi Umali. She's
Uh-huh.
the PTIC attaché in London.
Mhm.
So I think this was our during our first business mission.
Uh-huh.
A big part of Kokoro's history, I would say, is are the people from Saitem and PTIC. So,
Nice.
kasi the original plan for Kokoro really was export. That
Mm-hmm.
was what I was driving at. I mean, I think whether or not it was gonna be coconut sugar or muscovado or something else, any Philippine product, what I really wanted to do was to export.
Mm-hmm.
And so yun, that's why parang I worked a lot with the people from Saitem, which I think Tita Nance, my first friend in Saitem was Miss Rose Kwan,
Yes.
who was introduced to me by you.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, nice.
To
Yeah.
this day, she's still like kung if I have like any emergency question or just
Uh-huh.
something that I can't wrap my mind around, I still give her a call, and
Mm.
she's still super helpful. As in, gabe, bless her kind heart talaga.
That's good. Hi, Rose.
Hello.
Okay.
Ah, this is Sial. This is our first
Oh, Giselle.
trade show.
Where is
Yeah.
he at?
Oh, what is
This
Sial
was
pala? Can you explain? Yeah.
so Sial is a is an international food show. It's
Where?
held in Paris,
Mm.
France. So alternate sila. I think it's the odd years is Sial in Paris, and then the following year would be Anuga in Germany.
Yeah.
Mm.
So this is our first trade show. This is Sial Paris, where I met Joanne, and yun, they were also, I think they were there to support also the show, and like to check up on the vendors from the Philippines
Mm.
who were featuring Philippine products there.
Okay.
Okay. Next.
Ama.
Yes, that is our grandma, who I would say is responsible for a lot of our love for food. I
Nice.
remember na our our Sundays with the family, we would go to my grandma's house at around mga 10:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And pero syempre hindi pa lunchtime. So nagpipika-pika pa lang kami nun. We would be we'd be we'd go to their kitchen and eat whatever we found. And yun, just hanging there like rats, munching on things until mga 12 noon, which is properly lunch na. So, okay, lunchtime, guys. We'd all herd to the dining table and start eating lunch. Lunch would usually last till mga 2, 2:30, but nobody would leave the table. As in, we're all still there, complete. Magkonting inhale lang muna, and then 3 o'clock is merienda time na. So, more food comes in, and everyone's still there just eating till siguro mga 4:30, 5. At which point we would all leave the table to go for a shower break. And by mga 6:30, everyone's back in grandma's house and munching again, preparing for dinner at 7. So, grabe talaga, medyo we're
Talaga.
really
Everybody
Filipino's
loves mommy.
family.
Yeah.
Oo. Nice.
All right.
These are my schoolmates, my
Ano?
very supportive schoolmates. That's Charlie and Luis Abad. Thankfully now, like after pandemic, we've started to see more of each other again. And gosh, it's really a nice feeling to be able to go back to your school circles.
Ano yan?
Kasi
Chemistry?
syempre parang
Chemistry?
no,
Chemistry?
actually they're not in chemistry, pero my they're my batchmates. not in chemistry, pero I do approach them for like help. See, Charlie kasi, her family owned Budget Lane. So they're in
Mhm.
supermarkets. And sometimes
Mm.
Mhm.
like when I have, when I working with supermarkets is one of the biggest challenges for
Yeah, I
for
know.
for me, like for a brand like Kokoro.
Mhm.
I would say when I was a kid, parang I love going to supermarkets and I still do. To this day, I still love going to supermarkets. Whenever I travel, like supermarkets would actually be one of my first stops. Kasi syempre it's really interesting to see the products that are being sold locally elsewhere, diba?
Mhm.
It kind of gives you a window into how people live or like what their is like. And so yun, but as a kid, like I didn't really realize, of course, na every product that you find on a supermarket shelf, it took a lot for that product
Yeah.
to get there.
Yep.
Oo.
So, I mean, parang my mom's fruitcake business, medyo ano pa yun eh, I would say, yeah, we had our challenges and like every Christmas it becomes like a circus in the house. And I haven't seen a Christmas tree since I was maybe 6.
Okay.
Wow.
Kasi we would have, in lieu of Christmas trees, we would have boxes, like
Oh, cute.
boxes and packaging. So, pero grabe, there's supplying to modern trade, like supplying to
Ah,
supermarkets and wholesalers
You're freezing. Okay,
is
next.
all.
All right.
Ha, that's me guesting on the production line of Kokoro.
This is the
Uh,
mm,
this is the light cocoa sugar.
yes, that is Ivory.
Oh,
So yeah, this is during one of our stays in Cagayan de Oro. And I think while we were, kasi I think we were troubleshooting something yata. But anyway, when I saw na they were cooking, they were finishing the sugar, sabi ko, can I try? Can I try mixing? Tapos,
Jenny, I have a question.
sure.
For every 1 gallon of the nectar, how much cocoa sugar do you produce?
Every 1 gallon would give you 1/4 kilo. So mga 250 grams. Kasi it takes mga four four
1 cup.
gallons.
So
Ay, teka.
16, yeah, 16 cups of the liquid is 1 cup of the solid. One fourth cup.
Yes.
Wow, grabe pala.
Oo. Medyo ano talaga. Kaya the cooking takes a long time. Kasi
So do you cook with firewood or you cook with gas?
we start with firewood and then we end with gas.
Okay.
Oo. Kasi the firewood is ano talaga. Parang it's very high heat.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So for the initial stage, you're removing a lot of moisture pa talaga. So firewood is okay. And yeah, I think it was also yeah, to minimize the cost.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This is a trip to UP
Romeo.
Food Hub. Kasi
Uh-huh.
oo nga eh si Romeo and Michelle, my trusty team. So at the start, we were very uh we had to do a lot of like R&D, like controlling
mhm.
yung parang controlling the heat, what temperature, what duration, mga ganyan. It was yeah, quite a lot of research that had to go into that. And grabe, we knock on every door talaga just to get our answers. So we even I have a food tech from Davao, but we also would reach out to DOST. We'd reach out to yun, UP Innovation Hub also to, you know, just to troubleshoot certain things. I'm not sure if they're still if they're still active.
I'm sure
Mhm.
Pero I
it would
think
be.
they
Yeah,
have.
they should
Hmm?
be. They should be. Yeah. Oh, okay. So this is your brand, Better.
Yes, that's our coconut flour.
Hmm. When did
So
you get
kasi
into flour?
Oh, may flour din kayo.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
galing.
this is mabenta to with the keto community. They use
With
it
the
for baking mga gluten-free stuff and also
mm,
for fried chicken is what I heard
Nice.
is the
yeah.
popular usage. Mm-mm. And
The
guys,
the flour comes from the sap then?
no, the flour comes from the coconut mismo.
The
So
coconut
this
meat.
one,
Okay.
the coconut meat.
Oh,
So parang when they extract yung mga virgin coconut oil,
oo.
um, kung
Oo.
talagang pigang-pigang-piga na talaga yung coconut meat and there's no more oil or moisture to be taken from it, yung latak, that's what we ground up and produce coconut flour, which is
Ah,
very high fiber. So, sometimes if I, kasi, guys, I eat a lot. And when when I get a little desperate to like reduce my weight, this is one of the things that I turn to, coconut flour. Like I make myself some pita breads using
Oh,
coconut flour. So it's very simple, Tita Nans. Coconut flour, psyllium husk, and water. And then you just form dough balls.
yeah.
Tapos after that, like you can flatten them out and cook them like pita bread.
Is it one is to one with all-purpose and one is coconut flour or ano yung proportion?
I most of the time I don't even use all-purpose flour anymore. Although I think if like let's say you're not exactly going for the fiber naman like me, you just want to add some fiber, you can use all-purpose flour and coconut flour and just 1:1 mo.
Oh,
Yun.
one to one. Okay. All right.
Mm-mm. Kasi for coconut flour, if you want to, let's say if you wanted to make breads or cookies na one of the things that you can use is psyllium husk. It could be powder or it could be the husk lang mismo. And then just add water kasi it becomes kind of sticky.
Where can you
So
buy
that's your
psyllium?
psyllium husk right now. Well, it's available in drugstores or supermarkets usually. Lana the big chains, supermarkets would have them.
Very
okay.
interesting. Oh my God.
Yes, high fiber eating.
All right.
Oo.
So,
Ito.
you have beautiful packaging. How did
Thank
you
you.
develop that yourself?
No, I have I have people with usually I come up with like a peg or tas I'll draw a really ugly sketch and then I pass it on to my my designer from the very start pa lang. His name is Mark Gosingtian of Together We Design. He's yeah, grabe, he's all these years he's been able to make sense of like my visions. So I'll tell him, Mark, kailangan natin ng parang I need something that's gonna communicate like, Filipino culture and like purity of product and mga ganyan. Tapos parang I remember one of the first iterations of our kilo bag. I think I even told Mark na gusto kong may parang cartoon characters yata. Basta parang bubuhusan ko siya ng sobrang daming ideas. And buti na lang, he knows to listen to only like maybe 10% of what I say.
Mhm.
So, yeah, he's able to come up with quite lovely things. Like this one, this is our very first,
Yeah, very nice.
ito yung big sister niyan.
Yeah.
Kasi,
Mm.
yeah, this is Mark's creation. So, I think I came up with the idea of like, ganyan, Kokoro, and I love this font. So I told Mark, ganyan yan, tapos magdodrawing ako ng something pangit. Tapos maglalabas siya ng something like
Why
this.
Kokoro?
Yeah. Kokoro. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's a good question. Uh, Grabe, naiisip ko tuloy what Anton said, that this is gonna be on the internet forever. Um, Actually, I was just looking for a name or like a word that that sounded nice and sounded ano. Um, I'm a fan of Totoro, like my
Who's
neighbor Totoro, the Japanese cartoon.
okay.
So during one of the brainstorm sessions, like I was thinking, coconut sugar, Kokoro, Totoro, Kokoro. Hey, why not?
Okay.
So yun, and then yun, parang
What? Yes, what?
yeah, when I heard the name, it sounded like something that that exists, that should exist, and so we just went with it.
I saw you
Kokoro.
Nice.
before when you were starting, you were taking your own photos, right? You're
Yes.
on professional na ba? Or you're still the one? They're good photos.
Thank you so much. Actually, I
Mhm.
think siguro if I were not in the sugar business, there is a small chance maybe I might be a photographer. Because
Okay.
yeah, I'm a very useful travel buddy because I
Okay.
Ah,
usually am able to take really nice photos of people.
nice.
Um Sana na lang ganun din yung mga travel buddies ko, no? Kasi usually like, sabi, uy, pa-picture naman. And then it comes out medyo, parang taba ko yata dito or mukha yata
Tapos
akong
sumama ka
RPM.
kay Anton sa lahat ng sinabi niya.
Ganun ba? Nako, I think we should travel together. The three
Oo
of
nga.
us. And
Yes.
Rach na rin, Anton.
Oo, of course.
That would be a lot of fun. It'll be an awesome food trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
So, ito yung coconut sugar.
Yes, that's the coconut flour. Forget
Ah,
kaninong
flour.
order. But
Sorry.
yeah,
Ah,
every time we get our first big order, natutuwa kami for a new product.
ito to. Okay.
The
Ito,
this
next.
one is the very first version of Kokoro's label.
Na, okay.
I
Okay.
think yeah, I think yung gusto ko pang I was telling Mark, I really love the label of Don Papa. Can we do something similar to that?
Ah,
And so yun, this is what he came up with.
okay.
Gabi, I think this is back in baka
I see.
2013 pa yata yan or 2012.
Ah. Ano to? Ano tong kit?
Okay. This is the first photo of our Cagayan de Oro facility. Gabi, tagal
Wow.
na
Puro
nito. Oo.
nostalgia pala to. Mga nostalgia pics.
Yeah. The 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 bare walls.
yeah.
I think
So,
this was prior to our getting our FDA pa.
so this is now your this is your property.
Um
Or is it part of
no, it
the co-op?
belongs to the co-op.
I see.
Mm,
Oo.
it
Okay.
belongs to the farm.
But you put in the machinery.
Some, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the
Ito
last
yung
photo. Ah,
yeah. Oh, yes. So this is yung ano namin, parang when we had our big meeting, like we flew people in to Cagayan de Oro from all over Mindanao um to do an alignment. Like this was when we had like the ideas exchange. Ideas and like parang how come this group is able to do like very dry sugar? How come this group is able to make a very light one or a very nice dark sugar? Tapos parang we were all exchanging information about like machines, processes, and yeah, that trip was quite a bit of hard work. Pero ano naman, masaya naman. And I think some very, very tight connections were made during that trip.
Galing.
okay. All right.
Um,
Galing.
so,
Galing.
okay.
Sorry, Nancy. Yeah.
Yeah, but I need to ask now. So from Cagayan or the farm to the processing to the product, how did you get it to the shelves? Because I know it's a nightmare for people trying to get things in the shelves. Like Cloud Tayeb was telling us about his bottled sauces and all, di ba? Talagang they had to go through purgatory to be able to get their products there. How did you do that, Jamie? Medyo na ano si Jamie. Okay.
Yun.
Yun. Sorry guys, I think na wala ang internet.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
think we're
So I said from the farm to the facility to you and the packaging all. How did you get your product to the shelves finally, knowing it's a nightmare to try to do
oh my. Actually, the first step was not knowing it was a nightmare.
that?
You know how sabi nila, you can make a horse charge through like a field of fire if you blindfold it. So I think
Good point
it
there.
was very lucky that I didn't know the trouble I was getting into. So that was mainly the reason why I set out. As in like, wow, this is gonna be easy, we just have to get our licenses, parang go through a battery of tests for the product.
Oo.
And so all of this was just unfolding as we were, syempre I thought na, okay, sige, basta may label tayo and then we can produce it consistently. That was step one, the consistent production. Kaya that's why since the start, like we've been so focused on production talaga and quality. Kasi I'm so scared of like failing customers. As in, if the customer ordered 100 kilos, let's say, and then suddenly like we were not able to deliver that on time, then that scares me talaga. And so that one. But the packaging, so here's where like Saitem and DOST were both very helpful with us. Like they taught us about compliance for packaging, diba? What's supposed to go
Mhm.
on the label, what is not allowed to be on the label. Thankfully we're not pharmaceutical naman, so it's not that strict. But still, like when you're dealing with food items or mga ano, you just can't promise, too many things, right? Like actually, so parang say for diabetics, I think that's probably one of the things na were it's very delicate if you're gonna mention something like that on your packaging,
Oh.
because it might make people think nga na, oh, I can eat the whole bag and nothing's gonna happen, mga ganun.
Oo.
So yun. But we got guidance from the likes of DOST, Citem, and other exporters as well.
Yeah, but
Like yeah,
talking
it
to the
really
talking to the ano right away to the supermarket owners. How was that?
oh
Mahirap.
oh um sino ba yung first ano namin? Actually, one of the first groups that we spoke to was Chocolate Lover. Actually,
Oh,
they've been I think I was lucky with a number of them kasi the purchasers were, nakita nila na it's we're not yet very savvy with this with selling products to retailers like themselves. So they would actually explain things. And I feel like I have been very lucky. Like I met a lot of kind people along the way, as in people who not only will give you a chance, but they will actually teach you pa a lot of things along the way.
that's
Like, making sure that quality is there, food safety, procedures, like a lot of things talaga. Um, even the entities, I think that are not super, parang they're not outwardly kind or nice, but as long as they're teaching you something,
mm-hmm.
I think that's something to be grateful for. As in parang may nakausap na rin kami na yung parang sabihin, oh, sigurado ba kayo makaka-deliver kayo? Mga ganun. Yung parang medyo may konting put down na. Pero, I'm grateful for that also, because they're very transparent about their expectations. And I think anything that gives you clarity is just like a blessing.
Okay. Wow, 9 years na, no?
Oh,
9 years
wow.
na.
Congrats.
Ah,
Wow. I
All
saw,
right.
you know, Anton, I saw this little girl start from the start to now.
Oh, wow.
And I keep telling her you gotta find time for other things also. Don't 24/7 yourself with work. So you gotta find love life. But
I nakita ko 55 minutes na. Oh, the time is
kala mo lisod ka, no? But
oh, nga eh. Akala ko
so,
10
no,
minutes past the...
I really am curious about, and kasi like Mamasita group, my cousin keep saying, "Hi, impyerno yung pagpunta doon sa grocery, kausap mo lahat, lalagay ka sa ilalim, lalagay ka sa ibabaw, babayad ka." So, who was the first? How did you really do it in a supermarket? Huh? Supermarket, was it? Are you in Shumar?
No, we're not in Schumart, but
Wala.
we are in Kultura.
Okay.
Um,
Ah,
we're in Landmark.
yes.
All of the Landmark branches. We're in the
SMR.
Unimart group. SNR, no, oh my gosh, we're still praying for that. But we are in Landers,
All
Nice.
right.
yeah, and we're in Robinsons and Rustans also,
Hmm. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Galing, galing.
Um, but Tita Nance, what you mentioned about yung ilalagay ka sa taas, ilalagay ka sa baba,
Yeah.
that is all still true. As
Yeah.
in, yung mga ganyang ano. Tapos, kami pa, we also had like, may branch na, I saw this photo, nilagay kami sa ceiling. As in, talagang, yung halos dikit na talaga siya sa ceiling na shelf.
Meron
And
ganun.
the thing is, oo, parang Kokoro has a lot of customers na senior citizen. So, nako, grabe, we really had to speak to them about this kasi syempre mapapa-exercise ang senior citizen. They would really call us, ha? As in, they would call us to parang sasabunin kami na, bakit wala kayo sa ganitong branch? Mga ganun. I'm looking for Kokoro. Which is, I'm so grateful na they even bother to call us and like inform us na, hala, wala pala siya or naubos na pala sa branch na to.
Hmm.
So, yeah. But, gosh, to answer your question, uh, maybe getting into a supermarket is not really impossible. It's not very, very hard. But keeping like having the right display, that
Yes.
that takes a lot of work. Tita Nance, para siyang love life. It takes a lot of work
Ikaw ang
every
nag-umpisa, ha?
day.
You start,
Every
you
day.
said that
Pero
word, ha?
ilulup back ko
You
siya
said
to
the L
display.
word. Good ka. And si Anton has, I've been asking questions. I don't know about Anton.
Hindi, I'm just fascinated lang with the Kokoro story. But si Eurobake wala. Coconut flour is amazing. May comment.
Hey, Mr. Ramos. Okay.
Si Mr. Ramos. So,
Yeah, we can include him also, Richard Ramos of Eurobake. Richard
oo.
Ramos, you should try also the Kokoro sugar. Na have you
Oo.
met? Dapat mag-connect kayo.
Oo nga. Sige.
Oo.
Through
Have you
you
met?
guys.
Eurobake.
Al.
Okay. Oy, oy.
Someone asking about coconut flour.
Oo.
He owns Eurobake.
Hindi, ano
Oh.
lang, sabi niya it's amazing. Oo.
Yeah.
Dapat gamitin niya rin, di ba?
Oo, amazing ka rin eh. Awesome ka.
Ah,
Hindi amazing.
ah,
Awesome.
ah.
Yes.
Okay, ako last question lang, Jamie. So, you're getting to 10 years, and what was your biggest realization nga with all of these things? Is this still possible ba to pursue, this kind of passion projects, export projects now? Or mas kailangan ba ng industry natin more, export products like you guys? And what was your biggest learning lang? Kasi maraming mga bagong entrepreneurs coming into the scene. Um, any advice to them?
Oh wow. Ask a lot of questions. That's I think that's one of the biggest things that
Mhm.
helped us move forward. Kasi, you know, I frankly don't care if people think that I'm stupid or parang, ha, ba't hindi mo
Oo,
alam yan? It
oo.
doesn't matter, you know, if I don't understand or if I think something can be made better, I will ask that question. So definitely, like, you know, parang don't be shy to reach out to people, to anybody that you think can help. Keep asking questions and uh regarding export, yes, definitely. As in, you know, one of our newest partners right now is exactly helping me with the export markets.
Mhm.
And I really think that that's something that every nation needs, a strong export industry. Kasi parang it's, you know, export really drives progress eh.
Yeah,
Like it forces you to level up, it forces you to, yeah, not just level up but, you know, hopefully um develop further, like get better, diba? Kasi you're gonna be thinking, how am I gonna compete against an Indonesian product, how am I gonna compete against like an Indian product, diba? Parang, I mean, it's syempre it's all, this is all friendly competition, and it has happened also with us. Now we've exchanged ideas with other countries. Parang it's just cooperation din. Pero definitely, like I think export would help, um not just yung parang making a product better, but also like it really provides livelihood for a lot of people, lalo na ngayon parang for yung agricultural sector natin, 'di ba? Parang if you can't sell the crops or the products here domestically, it would be great if we can process and then export them.
very good. Very good.
Alright. And so, pag, may gustong magtanong sa'yo, saan ka daw mare-reach? May Instagram ka ba daw?
Yes, actually. So we have Kokoro Sugar PH. That's our Instagram handle. And sometimes we also get messages through our Facebook. So that's yeah, facebook.com/Kokoro Sugar.
You know, Jamie, you're not exactly old, but in the business world, 9 years of experience from scratch, huh? From scratch is something a big accomplishment. I want you to give a few words to the Gen Xers, because sometimes at your age, some of them are just starting, or they're just restarting after COVID. How would you encourage them or inspire them? But I do see the passion in you that has not died since you were starting. It's still there.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Wow, nako. Thanks, Tita Nance. I'm actually to share with you guys, sometimes the passion does die. But I think I've found ways to resurrect that once in a while. As in parang um you know, definitely I think the communities that I work with,
Mhm.
it could be the communities in Mindanao, or it could be just even our team in Manila. Um it Gabi, one of the things I didn't realize that was happening pala was na there are there are more people counting on the brand. As in, to me, at the start, it was just about product development, about having like a nice ingredient for bakers to use. Pero parang ang nangyari na rin is like, unti-unti, we hire more people partner with us, and before you know it, parang it's become like a web. Parang
Right.
it has become a whole community na rin of people who
Hmm.
contribute and who also rely on Kokoro. And so that's one of the things I think, siguro, always review the people that you surround yourself with. always review the people that you listen to. I mean, hear everyone out, but discern who you take advice from.
Mm.
And
Question.
some
So,
mm,
related to that, may question kasi si Clean Game. Is DTI helpful if you're a startup? O, kasi hindi mo na-mention DTI eh. So, ano,
ah
may purpose ba sila or wala?
gosh, I'm sorry. I think kasi Tita Nance, 'di ba, Saitem is also like under DTI or medyo
I think
partnered with.
so, yeah. Yeah.
Oo.
And also
So,
design center, item, fame, and all that.
So, but
mm-mm.
what you were saying, the most helpful was Saitem people, correct?
Yes, kasi we were especially at the start, we're geared towards export. More so
Ah,
than the domestic market. Parang
and
medyo
the
nangyari
domestic.
na lang yung domestic. Because like people
Ah,
would start to ask, like, oh, saan namin mabibili yan? Ganun. But yes, I would say definitely DTI is helpful. Like parang when you are, yeah, when you have basic questions about like starting up, the requirements, kasi syempre,
mm,
doing business is could be a delicate thing. Like I've always been afraid to land in jail. That's why taxes, BIR, like legal entity, all of these things
Yeah.
had to be taken care
ah,
of. And I believe DTI can definitely help with that.
How about
Yeah.
Wolfex? Maybe you can join Wolfex next year. Big time.
Ah, yeah, that is true. Actually,
And
tsaka kasi
ano,
um
pero
I
hindi ba
have
IFEX
actually
ang sinasalihan mo? IFEX?
IFEX. Tapos,
Or
ah
hindi?
ano,
Not yet. Hindi rin.
ano yung group ni, the one yung agriculture, the Department of Agriculture, the group, the Heritage,
Slow food? Hindi. Ano yan?
yeah, yung mga slow food and all that, di ba? We interviewed him also.
Mhm.
So, actually, I think you're really concentrated on your work, Muna, and that's already paying off. And there's so much more for you to do,
Yes.
really. But, well, I don't know how you do
I
it.
would say
But I'd
so.
like to say
Definitely so
something.
much more.
Going back to the source of all your products, it's the coconut. And the coconut tree is like for me the tree of life and the gift of life to the Philippines. Kasi you can use everything. Who would think that in that corn-like spike of the coconut, you can already produce lambanog and now cocoa sugar. And then from the piniga na ano, you have cocoa flour. So the coconut is really, sometimes we just say, sometimes when I teach foreigners here about the Philippines, they say, oh, it's got a lot of coconut. Yeah. And coconut is not just for a postcard pretty, it has so many uses. So we let them know. And because they don't have coconut trees.
Mm.
Kawawa naman sila.
Oh.
So anyway, I
Wait,
just want
wait.
God
May
is
follow-up question on the DTI. Let's
Hmm.
answer. Clean game. How grassroots does DTI get? There are many household-based startups in not so affluent areas. I guess you have to go to DTI, no? Or what's your experience?
Mm.
But
Mm-mm.
I want to give a little tip on that. Here in Houston, there's such a law that they call cottage kitchen law. So
Oh, wala namang ganyan
Ooh,
dito
what's
eh.
that?
yun nga, sana magkaroon. If somebody can push it na you can have your own food business at home, it's considered a cottage kitchen. You don't have to have a commissary or you don't have to rent a professional kitchen and all that. But there will be an inspector who will come and see that the cleanliness, yung surrounding, I think about one kilometer away, kung walang mga pusa, daga, aso, ahas, kung ano-ano. Tapos all these things, and then if you're also if you are using, I'm so interested in trying to push cottage kitchen laws to the Philippines, but I don't know
Oo
who.
nga.
Maybe DTI. Who's this
Oo nga.
name?
Oo,
Yeah,
parang related, no? Oo nga.
this
Sure.
awesome culinary life of Jamie Lau can already bear more fruit through our awesome planet. Yay! Anyway, I talk too much.
May sagot ka ba dito, Jamie? May sagot ka dito?
Yung how grassroots.
Uh,
Um,
you're not sure.
Shucks, actually, sorry, but yes, you will have to ask BTI. However, I do think kasi parang malaking bagay is the initiative from the ano mismo, the entrepreneur mismo. Like you can't really expect na the government agencies. In fact, minsan the government agencies are could be a little hard na mahagilap, like
Uh,
kasi syempre they're doing a lot of work din, so
mm-mm.
sometimes the person who's trying to do a startup would really have to keep
Reach out.
going there to pull it or to reach out talaga.
Okay.
So a lot of the initiative really has to come from the entrepreneur. I mean, Tita Nan, sometimes, like I was just having this conversation with my mom, sometimes you can have doors shut in your face. You can have a retailer tell you no thanks. Oh, but it's kailangan talaga makulit ka. Kailangan talaga that you keep trying. Kasi yeah, sometimes true, the product is not ready. So you go back to the drawing board and then you fix it, 'di ba?
Yep.
Ask around, like, if you are the one who needed this product, or what would you wish the product had, 'di ba? So parang you add or you take away, and you keep improving until then you try again, 'di ba?
But that's what I want to say, like you're the founder of Kokoro. Anton is a founder of our awesome planet. He was starting when nobody really even knew what Wi-Fi. Wala pa yatang Wi-Fi noon. Anton, may Wi-Fi ka ba?
Ako, meron na siguro.
Meron na. Pero
Meron na, meron.
alay namin kung ano yon. And yet he started it. See, I mean that word founder isn't just a nice title to put in somebody. Okay, ako I founded Adobo Queen. Pero people think, wow, founder, and parang ang dali naman ng buhay. Hello, hindi madali. Anton started how many years ago, Anton? 20 na, no?
17, 17.
17. See, nearing ano. And you're going to go into your 10th year. So, I think the inspiration there is the passion. Kailangan talaga ilaban yung ganyang ano. Yung belief mo. And
Magkakapalit.
di ba? Anton, maybe interview ka rin namin ni Jamie. Did you ever was there ever a time when you wanted to give up hope with the planet?
Okay, so when hindi, we have to close this now, pero but I'll answer that no. So when I quit because I work for Procter and Gamble for 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 12 years no. So when I quit PNG, basta may nabasa akong book, you need to prepare 1 year war chest. Meaning 1 year na savings na para hindi mo isipin na you have to earn within this 1 year para you can be creative and work on your startup, can pursue it. Alam mo, umabot ako ng 12-month talaga. Umabot ako ng 12-month, hindi na work. And then, we actually had a big advertiser at the time na San Miguel, ganyan, who helped us when we were starting. At the same time, when we started in 2005, the internet really blossomed lang naman mga 2010, 2011.
Oh, kaya nga.
So it took like a long time. A long time. Akala ko rin nga mabilis lang. But, yun.
So it's really for the audience to know. Hindi ano yan hindi yung poop instant, no. So these are two people now I'm interviewing. awesome lives. Thank you very much, Jay.
All right, let's close. Si Boss Richard. Thanks for featuring this great product, Chef Nancy. It's something we can definitely push. Yun, o nga.
Hoy, Richard! Okay. Chef Richard, magkakilala kayo dapat ni Jamie. I'll give you a telephone number.
Oh, bilis. Oo. Tita Nance, give me the address. Pupunta na ako dun.
Oo, sa Bulacan. Sa Bulacan sila.
Oo, sige. Eurobake in Bulacan.
In Bulacan.
Abang Bulacan. No, that's their headquarters. And they can do it siguro for their ensaymada. It's a big giant bakery. It's a
Oo,
giant
galing, galing, galing. Oo.
um
All
bakery
right.
business.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jamie. Thank you. Medyo napahaba yung usapan natin. But maraming salamat for sharing your story. Sarap ng mga
Thank
kwento mo.
you.
And I do hope for you guys watching in the live stream and in the replay, yeah, please let us know if you have more questions. Contact Kokoro also. They can help you guys out. And of course, syempre, sabi ni Boss Richard, o sige, let's see daw, let's see you guys in Bulacan. Si Jamie. Okay.
Okay. I
All
love
right.
you, Amy. God is good. Love you.
Yes. Live an
Thank
awesome life, guys.
Okay.
Maraming salamat.
Watch out for more